everybody. I'm your host, Jaime Soretta. On this podcast, we celebrate everything local in Arizona. And I want to introduce you to a couple who is changing the landscape of small town Arizona. You will see their mark when you visit Cottonwood and Jerome. They absolutely love the Verde Valley. May I introduce to you Michelle and Eric Jurisin of the Haunted Group. Hello, you two.
Hello, Jaime.
It's great to see you guys. We had to celebrate the Haunted Hamburger because it is what? How old now?
It turned 30 this year in May.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you guys kind of discovered Jerome on, I don't know, was it just a road trip one day? What were you doing? Because you live here in the Valley. Tell me about this.
My mom took my daughter. She was 3 years old at the time. And yeah, we took a road trip. We were going to Sedona and we ended up going through Prescott for fun. And it said road closed, only to locals. Oh. And there were cows blocking the road. I said, turn back. We can't get through.
The cows are blocking the road. So is this the day that you ended up in Jerome?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Jerome, you loved the view.
We ignored the signs and ran around them. It was just cows and a big black bull.
Avoided them.
Yeah, we avoided the bull and went. And we just, it was on our way. We were going to do lunch in Jerome. And that's how it all sort of began. We went to have, there were only a few restaurants in Jerome at the time, and we wanted, it was a fun day, Sunday fun day mentality, and there was nowhere to have a cocktail with a meal. Yeah. And when we drove in, we had restaurants previously in the Valley, and the view from Jerome is amazing, as most people know, and this old building was closed down and kind of condemned with an old for sale sign on it. But when you drove by slowly, you could see the view through the window, and we laughed. There was our next location. And we kept driving. We never stopped. And we stopped down the street farther down and had a quick lunch. And we asked someone if there was a Mexican restaurant or somewhere to grab a cocktail and lunch. And they said, well, none of our restaurants serve alcohol. And that didn't even hit us. That was strange at the time. We just had lunch and moved on. But when we hung out in the creek that day, we started talking about it and went back the following week and dug in.
And dug into that piece of property, right?
We did. It was for rent at the time, and we peeked in the windows and saw that there were living quarters downstairs, and it was pretty creepy, but...
Did it become home?
It became home. We lived there.
We moved in that old building.
2.5 years.
Yeah, we lived in the basement. The owner was down in Mexico living the life.
Oh, that sounds fun.
And he wouldn't rent the building at that point, so he made you buy the building because it was falling. So he knew it was, the city wouldn't let it reopen without repairs. And so, we spent about 8 months on weekends doing weekend road trips with friends and every contractor friend we had in the Valley to jolt the place safe enough to open. And we just opened on a Tuesday.
Because it sits on a hill. And it was the view you guys fell in love with.
It's all about the view.
Yeah.
I looked through that window and said I could look at that the rest of my life.
And 30 years later.
Here I am. We just moved back to Jerome, our residence also, yes.
Oh, wow. So Jerome's where it began. I have to list off your concepts because you have 9 concepts, 6 in Cottonwood, 3 in Jerome. It is the Haunted Group, the Clinkscale Hotel, which is so cool, with a restaurant and hotel above. But how many rooms there? Just small?
7 and a penthouse. 2-bedroom penthouse. Yeah.
And then the Tavern Hotel, which is just an anchor for Cottonwood now, which is so cool, especially with that Merkin Vineyard next door. The Haunted Hamburger, iconic, obviously. The Haunted Pizano, coming soon, loading. So opening Halloween. Tell me about the concept here.
Well, the concept's a pizza pasta restaurant, homemade pastas every day in-house, and stone-fired pizza. It's a spin-off of our bocce concept where I went to Naples to learn how to make that pizza.
Oh.
So we're just going to do it.
So you have the bocce, and that's in Cottonwood,
right.
Pizzeria Bocce, STRADA at Bocce,
where
you have the gelato.
The
street bar. You also have, what are the yard games? You have some yard games for us. Bocce ball. You don't say.
Yeah.
And then you have, of course, you're having breakfast at Crema Craft Kitchen Bar, and the Tavern Grille is where you're going to grab a drink before heading down the main street there, Cottonwood, and checking out all the wineries and such. Oh, Nick's Italian Steak and Crab. Right. We don't want to miss them either. That's a lot. You guys have been busy.
It was a lot, but we're sharing now, right? Because we've created partnerships with some of our old time management, so they're taking ownership of some, and then our son Eric is taking over the Jerome restaurant. Then our daughter Nicole took over the Tavern Hotel. So it's not as hard as it used to be.
Life is better.
Life is better. Yeah,
more
it's
balanced,
way better. Yeah.
But how does it feel to be able to share with your family, share with these, like Andrea, a long-time employee?
They are like family. We've known them all since kids.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so we've known them. It is family. There's 300 employees in the Haunted group, and we still have our very first employee, and it's been a good run.
Yeah. And continuing to build, obviously.
Sure.
Right.
Just
It's
the
their
next
it's their
generational
turn
level.
now.
Let's go back in time a little bit because, you guys have built yourself an empire, but you met, at an AJ's Deli?
Yes,
Tell
we
me,
did.
bring me back in time to this day. What happened? What was
Well,
going
my
on?
father worked for AJ Bayless at the time. He was hired that's how we came out here from Rhode Island. He was hired to open delis that were New England style in these grocery stores. AJ's was the first gourmet grocery store in Arizona. And I was hired to manage the deli. Especially the cheese department and hand-cut fish and all of that. So
one day, Eric, you needed some cheese and some fish?
Yeah, kind of. That was it.
Found your bride.
That's my normal gig. No one had ever seen, to be honest, AJ's was a big deal at the time.
Yeah.
So no one had ever seen, the gourmet side of food and stuff. And I hadn't seen it. And my best buddy's girlfriend got a job there. So we were actually going to see her. And there's this other Italian girl behind the counter who was attractive. And things just worked out. That's where we met.
Did you say hey, or did you order something?
Well,
or
number one,
how'd this go?
I felt at a very young age I was very important.
Yes.
And no, I had my best friend, and we were renting a home in we were partners in my first restaurant in one of the old hotels in Scottsdale that got torn down, we rented a big house, and we were renting out all the rooms, and Michelle rented one of the rooms. So we were roommates first.
my friend begged me to move in. She didn't want to be the only girl renting a room in there.
Was this the other
Yeah,
friend?
it was one of the big houses
mutual
in-
friend.
And I kind of thought he was obnoxious.
Oh. But then,
We
you grew
became
on her.
friends.
Then it became funny and cute.
If it walks like a duck,
It served you well, Eric.
it's worked.
He asked
It's really
me
worked
to-
out for me. Yeah.
He asked me to wait tables at his breakfast restaurant one Labor Day weekend, and then we decided to close it up and go to San Diego, and the rest is history.
So San Diego's a special spot. That's where
Yeah.
I love kind of grew there. And you mentioned you owned a restaurant at a young age. You said in
Sure.
it was in a hotel.
Yeah,
in
there's
Scottsdale?
there's a hotel. We leased it. There was a Scottsdale Towers hotel, and I had applied for a job there. And while applying for a job, I went into the bar. Drinking age was different back then, and somehow I ended up with the lease of the restaurant. It was a strange thing of events.
Yeah.
That his partner had bailed, and hotels back then there were no such thing as staycations. So all the Scottsdale resorts, most of them closed during the summers.
Yeah.
So they always had to redo them for season, and right place, right time.
You were how old then?
18, going on
So
19.
you were 18 owning your own restaurant.
Yeah, that was good luck.
And that's what I thought. I thought,
Yeah.
wow,
See, now you get
this
it.
is,
Yeah.
I'm going to marry someone who,
Ooh, we're going to have businesses
Yeah.
together, and here you are. And a happy
it didn't
family and
exactly
everything.
go like
They
that.
didn't quite go as smooth as we thought. There were some stumbles along the way.
Well, let's talk about the stumbles
Sure.
because people who listen to this podcast are looking at you guys saying, gosh, look what they've done.
Yeah.
And really, I often brag on you guys about how you've changed Jerome and Cottonwood and made it a place that people want to visit. They want to stay. They want to stay the night at the tavern. They want to, walk down the street. They want to visit all these cool venues that you've created and then all the ones that are in between. It's so cool what you've done for the economy of these places. So congratulations.
Thanks.
But for folks who are looking at you and saying, oh, I would love to open maybe a little restaurant in a small town, what kind of stumbles did you have along the way that you wish you had a mentor to tell you, don't do this better?
I think I can speak for both of us. We don't do for us. We are partners. We don't need another set of partners. And our probably our biggest stumble ever was taking on a partnership, and that's when one of our restaurant concepts went south.
Really?
And but you learn a lot from going south. We handle finances very different. Cash is king in our world, and we've always tried to operate without debt. But sometimes you just got to also just take the risk and pay attention to the opportunities.
What risk did you take?
buying a falling down building in Jerome, Arizona, with 500 people up 80 stairs with no parking places, where there were no tourists walking around. It seems silly, and 12 other people had tried in the building.
Really?
I'm exaggerating,
But
but lots of people
right.
have tried to put a restaurant there that never made it because there's no parking and it's 70 steps to the left. So who would have thought that would have been? And still today is still mothership.
Yeah.
You know, we're doing a pretty
busiest restaurant,
and we're doing a heavy duty expansion on her. So
tell me what's happening.
well, through time things have changed. So we were able to acquire the apartment building next to the Haunted Hamburger. So we'll go from a 300 square foot kitchen to a 1,500 square foot kitchen, which we can't imagine having a full size kitchen. And then we also the city. With those private-public partnerships that we've had to do through Cottonwood and Jerome for all these years, government plays a big part of our destiny because of being landlocked.
Yeah.
So we have to create these license agreements and those are difficult. So it only took 30 years to get that little piece of land between us and the park. And now we'll be able to expand the deck and double the size.
Wow.
And it'll really seem like something.
And
when it's
Michelle
all
is
done.
the chef.
She is still our chef. Yeah, she's
I
not
will
retired
guide them.
yet.
I've got some great chefs working for me, and
Including
with
your
my
son.
Yes. So we will guide them.
Yeah, he just won last week in the big competition down at Barrett Jackson last week.
really?
It was a good time. We had a good time.
Oh, how cool.
He went against their award winner, and he beat her. So he gets to go to Indianapolis now.
Oh, how cool. Well, congratulations to
Thanks.
Eric.
It was a great moment.
Yeah.
Where
I was
did you
really
study to be
happy.
a chef?
School of Grandma.
Oh, yes.
Basically, I grew up in the business in a little deli in Barrington, Rhode Island, and we did catering on the weekends and nights, and it's really all I knew how to do. My grandmother taught me a lot. Later on in life, I got to go to some amazing schools, some in Italy, California. Very short programs because I had developed myself, but I would say that I'm completely self-taught.
Wow. That's impressive.
So,
And then you work on hiring the chefs and training them to execute your recipes at your
well,
restaurant.
it's a group effort to hire the chefs for sure
Yeah.
because sometimes I don't have the best, judgment.
Well,
I just want to hire everybody.
Yeah. And I've heard that before from business owners. They connect with the person, they like the person.
Yeah.
That's probably where Eric comes in a little. So,
Definitely.
Do they have what we need, though?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would hire them just if I want you to mentor me. Okay.
Yeah, I get it. But that's a beautiful thing, though. That's a beautiful thing. How has the business life changed as far as kind of growing up in a small town with these businesses and then where it is today when you start, like Pizano? How has things changed from when you started Haunted Hamburger to Pizano as far as just where people are as what they want from a restaurant?
Probably the biggest negative for anyone who's thinking of going to any of our industries, yours, mine, anyone's, is staffing, right? Staffing has become our number one problem in northern Arizona. And it really began with vacation rentals. It's something as silly as that when our governor decided to not let us regulate our communities, everything got bought up almost overnight in Sedona, Old Town, and Jerome. And so every home became a vacation rental, and which is great because we get more people to come visit us, but we no longer have anywhere to live. So housing has become it's in the crisis mode up in the Verde Valley.
Where are a lot of your employees living?
Wherever they can.
Yes.
From we have people driving in
Multifamily.
from Prescott Valley, from Cordes Junction. I mean, some of where they live just seems crazy to us every day.
They live in RVs.
And, like some of the corporate businesses up there, they bring them in from Phoenix to work in their places daily,
Really?
which is an hour and a half. But it's an hour and a half. That's a long drive.
Yeah, and a lot of part of your day.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to tag an hour and a half on my day.
all of our communities are up there working on it as fast as we can. But, I mean, it's the same.
We're praying
in
for more
Phoenix.
apartments.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And is there any action making that happen or moving forward with
We
it?
see some.
Is that
Slowly.
your next project?
Yeah,
We are putting
Yeah, we are
housing.
putting up some housing actually, but sometimes it's hard. The government's cities struggle with how to do it. We're doing the best we can.
Yeah. Talk to me about, take me through a day trip to Cottonwood. Where should we go? What are we doing? Obviously, you have your favorites among your restaurants, but where would you drink a glass of wine? Not in one of your spaces, at one of the little tasting rooms. Do you have a favorite?
You want to take it?
No, you go ahead.
Page Springs.
Yeah.
Out on the
DA
water,
Ranch.
where water people don't realize the Verde River's up there. So walking the jail trail in the morning, going to Dead Horse and walking the ponds, having, drinking wine down by the creek. When you're here in Phoenix, we don't get to see as much water, but we have it up there.
And does it babble?
The name Verde Valley.
Babbly Brook?
You get to hear it. You get to hear it, especially in this year, right? With these temps.
And if you're coming to Old Town, you would check in at the Tavern Hotel.
Clearly. Yeah. Which is spectacular, by the way. It is so
You
beautiful.
might go have a glass of wine up at Merkin, up on the hill.
Yeah. How has that changed life in Cottonwood?
Wow. It's definitely brought a lot more people on day trips and for the weekend. And definitely has helped.
Sure. If when you have Maynard as a neighbor, and we've known him for 30 years because he's a Jerome guy like us, we all came about the same time. So we both have the same goals for Old Town and Jerome. And but if we talk about Maynard, if I talk about Maynard, it's in the Verde Independent. If he brings up a restaurant owner friend, all of a sudden I'm in Rolling Stone.
So it's a little bit different.
It's a little bit different of who's the in our neighborhood. So, and he really is the founding father of the wine industry up there. He doesn't get enough credit for the funding and the things he did for the school program at Yavapai College and really putting a lot of money, time, and effort into it.
Well, so did you get a mention in Rolling Stone?
Pardon me?
Did you get
No. He mentioned a friend with a restaurant or something. I never even read the article, but people kid, I go, who knows who that is? But, it is funny.
It is funny. And I remember staying at the tavern when construction was going on. Like, what the heck is going on up on that hill over there? And then we got to see, it is impressive indeed. And I was talking to Kimberly Lanning from Local First Arizona, and she was talking about when people come to Cottonwood, so many of them are not Arizonans, that they're coming from different areas of our country, or even the world, to see Arizona wine trail, if you will. And the Arizonans don't visit as often. I feel like my friends do. So in my circle we do, but I might be in the support local trail there. But it's interesting, like who's getting attracted? Where are you seeing people? Where are the tourists coming from?
Well, we've always had, because of the Grand Canyon in Sedona, we've always had an international crowd, right? So that's always been a gift. I think for some, they just stumble upon the wine, and any real wine drinkers, always go to the be it Spain, Oregon, the regions, right? And because of our, I don't want to blow the name of our certification that our region received, we are now a region. And our local winemakers in school put a lot of effort into getting it. So it's we're recognized as a region. So that's, I guess, a big deal.
Is it Verde Valley? Is that the region that's recognized?
I wish something like that. Paula Woosley, if she sees this, she's going to kill me. But I don't know what it's called.
This is one of his more Cottonwood.
Yeah.
She's the director.
And then you mentioned the Babbling Brook and the Verde River. You offer a cool experience with the tavern where you can come stay at the tavern and then do the Alcantara trip.
Yeah.
I've done Alcantara and I've done the tavern. I haven't done the two together. Tell me about what that experience is like, because that was so cool.
They drop you off in a kayak, which is great because you have a designated driver on both sides, right? So they bring you, they drop you into the Verde River. You do it's easy navigation. They give you some direction. You get to do it on your own now, and then you float up to Alcantara's where the Oak Creek. The vortex, is that maybe
the confluence?
The confluence,
where the river meets the creek,
right?
The
and that's Alcantara, right? That's
Yeah.
their piece of real estate. They got the good spot, and so you just pull up on the beach and walk up and do a wine tasting, and then they bring you back to Old Town. So no cars needed once you park.
And it's beautiful. And
They
it's
have
fun to
beautiful real
kayak.
estate.
And their pizza's good.
Yeah.
It is a fun place to visit. So I was excited when I saw you guys did the partnership with them. Okay, let's go to Jerome. If we're heading up to Jerome, obviously we're going to the Haunted Hamburger. Is there any way, do you guys take reservations?
At the Clinkscale, not at the Haunted Hamburger.
Pizano will
The
as well
Pizano
at
will?
night. Yeah.
Because people line up for the Haunted Hamburger. I mean, you should know. Go put your name in. Take a little stroll. Maybe put your name in before you're hungry.
We
Definitely.
recommend we have the system where you come to Jerome, park your car, get your name in, and you can track it the whole way through. So there are waits, but we'll show you. 10 names, 5 names, 4 names. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
So you can
Bring a
stroll our
snack.
streets, right?
Yeah.
Have a cocktail.
And what
we'll
are
always
we-
get you a drink.
Oh, you will? Okay, that's
Yeah.
good to know as well. I hear some folks love the pie over there. What kind of pie do you ever have at the Haunted Hamburger?
Well, we do homemade cheesecakes. We're famous for our 6-layer chocolate cake
hello.
and carrot cake.
Oh my gosh, that sounds
there,
delicious.
so-
And of course the hamburgers.
Yeah.
And those hamburgers are tall and loaded. What do you have on them?
Well, the Haunted Hamburger
Yes.
has everything. It starts with a half-pound hand-pressed patty and has Swiss and American cheese, I think. And then it has grilled onions, mushrooms, bacon, guacamole, green chilies.
Oh my gosh. And then we're getting a loaded milkshake
Yeah.
You know we are. Yeah.
and enjoying the view. Is there a certain spot that you guys love in Jerome? I know they have such interesting things. They have that kaleidoscope store. They have that Spirit Room for live music?
The Spirit Room's great.
Where do you recommend? Where do you send people?
We like both, of course. Our 2 local bars, Paul and Jerry's, which is the oldest family-owned bar in town. In the state. Paul and Jerry's Saloon.
Oldest bar in the
Yeah,
state?
I'm sorry.
Family-owned.
Yeah,
Oh,
same
wow.
family. They're on generation 4, which
my
is
gosh.
great, right? To be a 4th generation, and then the Spirit Room's our live music. We always try to remind people what sometimes gets missed is the Gold King Mine, which is up the street, which is the old mining camp and stuff, which is it's just a fun spot to walk around, and especially if you have kids or something, or if you're even some sort of a gearhead, because they have a lot of old vehicles and stuff
really?
out there also.
It's where our bar came from at Pizano.
I mean, what
Years
does this
ago,
mean?
they have a sawmill that is
An operating sawmill.
Yeah, from water,
So,
right?
so he does timber up there. So all the lumber in that old building came from that particular mining camp.
And we have a living wood bar that was cut for us specifically about 25 years ago.
Oh my gosh. And that's going in where?
It's in Haunted Pizano.
Is it-
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So where's it been for 25 years if Pizano just opens now?
Well,
In storage?
it opened as the Jerome Brewery 25 years ago. That was my restaurant after the Haunted Hamburger. Eric and I decided we should probably not work together. So
Oh. But you do still.
another one of those challenges.
So you bring up a good point. Tell me about the key to success to working together as a married couple, as business partners. You said you decided you didn't want another party involved.
Right.
So it's the two of you. Now, how do you manage that relationship both as a marriage and as business partners?
You have to stay in your lane for sure. You have to do what you do well in your part of the business and try not to get, other than some gentle, nice suggestions.
Kind nudges.
Really, I think that's definitely having respect for each other's area of expertise. Yeah.
So where's your lane then?
Mine would be the cooking.
The menu?
Yeah. Executing it, really. We do the menus together with our son and with some influence.
And Nicole does the beverage.
Yes.
So, I mean, really,
yeah,
both
so it's
kids
a family
are involved.
operation
Yeah.
for sure.
And we argue the whole way through like any good family would.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do.
Well, you have to communicate.
That's our way.
Communicate,
Yeah.
and as long as you know that's your way, and everyone's good and comfortable voicing themselves, and then where's your lane, Eric?
I don't know. I go to work every day and just do this and that.
He hasn't learned
But,
to stay there yet.
Yeah, I travel through all lanes that I shouldn't. But separate buildings helps, right? So we're not in one building all day together,
Yeah.
come and go. Because if you're together all day, and I tell this when people talk about being couples and wanting to work together, you come home and what we don't always have is how was your day? I already know how her day was
Yeah.
because it was my day.
Yeah.
Where you don't get to sometimes turn it off because you guys are still debating it because it's still our day.
Right.
So there's advantages and disadvantages to what we do.
So do you escape to San Diego? Do you have a favorite spot that you run away to?
We on Lake Havasu, we have a home there that
yeah.
we've had forever next to the bridge on the water. So back to water. Find
yeah.
water where you can.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
doubt. I love the water. And we have a lot. We don't
Yeah,
have the beach,
right.
but we do have a lot. You just
We
kind of
do.
have to look for it a little bit. I went to Bartlett Lake, and we just pulled the truck right up on the beach. I mean, it was lowbrow, but it did the trick.
Feels like a vacation.
Yes,
It does.
yes. We had a couple of those little chairs, put our legs in the water.
It's a good day.
I think I got bitten by a fish, I swear.
Oh,
Fish bit me. Like, what was that? Which is also one of the hardest things to
Little
Google.
sunfish,
Yes.
Yeah.
I want a little nibble.
Yeah.
But the water is very important. So when you guys are not working, what are you loving in Arizona? What are you doing? What are you drinking? What are you eating? What are you reading? What are you loving in Arizona right now?
We like to hike.
We do a lot of the hikes and a lot of the trails.
Yeah.
And we're boaters, so we go to Havasu quite a bit, and then we always have a home in Phoenix, so we have to see what all the big time restaurateurs are doing, so we can see what's going on here.
Do you have one who you watch? Is there a certain one you always watch?
We have a couple that we're fans of. Matt Carter.
Yes.
Yeah.
He does an excellent job in all his concepts and has created some great chefs throughout the years.
I was expecting you to say Sam Fox, but you didn't. You said Matt Carter.
No, but he has done amazing things.
Amazing
and
things.
we're a fan of the hotel in that private
Oh, my gosh.
club area we got to hang out in. It's quite nice.
What?
Yeah.
Did you meet anyone famous in there?
No.
You were the famous one. You guys were
And
the
you're not
famous ones.
supposed to say.
He signed a waiver or something, a disclaimer, or what is it? It's a we do not. It's a non-disclosure. That is interesting. The hotel's beautiful.
It is
obviously,
beautiful.
So beautiful.
I sat and watched that thing go up. I
Right.
recorded
You
from
live
that
in the
corner.
neighborhood,
Everything
right.
he styles is really, really
Yeah,
great.
it is
And,
interesting.
But we want to spend more time down here so we can I think that's what keeps us relevant is that we come down so much. My parents live in Scottsdale and I have siblings here too. And we get to eat out a lot. And that is so important when you're in the restaurant business to see what everybody else is doing. And we learn from everybody,
Well, your places are immaculate as far as design goes. The food's great as well, but I think of the tavern and just how cute it is when you put that yellow pop on that street with the hills
That'd be
behind
Eric.
it. Was it? I mean, it's great. And then the Clinkscale is really cool too because it's it has the haunted vibe in Jerome, and you have the flickering lantern lights in there, which just set the tone. Like, are those supposed to be flickering? I think they're supposed to be flickering. I think, okay, it's fine. I can go to bed tonight. But it is so
in
much
the
fun.
modern bar.
Yeah,
I mean, we try to put those elements in all of our design.
Yeah.
A little bit of modern with.
The Valley's our market. I mean, it is our market.
Yeah.
I mean, and so we know what the Valley wants because we're from the Valley.
Yeah.
Right. So when you only have so much time on that overnight experience, that's really what we are, 1-2 days, right?
Yeah.
So what do you want to do? Number one, you don't want to sit in traffic, right? It's 3 left-hand turns
get out
to
of your
get there.
car.
When you think about it, you're up the 17, a left and a left, and you're in either Old Town or Jerome, depending on how far you go down the road. And once you park, both of our communities are walkability, right?
Yeah.
There's great trails. You don't have to drive your car to a trailhead. The trailhead's at the end of the street. If you want to see water, it's just down the street. If you want to go out and drink, you don't have to worry about getting an Uber. You get to just walk to your room carefully.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Stay on the sidewalk.
Old sidewalks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Old
what is that little
stairs.
bar that sits right there? Is it Cat's Cake?
Cactus Cake.
Yeah.
Cactus Cake. That place seems like it has some stories.
Every town needs a dive bar. We have ours, and we love her. Yeah.
Is it Kate? Is Kate still around?
Kate is still around,
She is still
rolling
there.
as ornery as ever.
Oh,
And she was
really?
there before us. So, she'll tell you, I'm the one who did it. And you know what? Kinda.
Yeah.
We give her lots of credit.
You're like, we just kind of filled it out.
Yeah.
think we opened next
We moved
right
next
after,
door, and we've been neighbors ever since.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Michelle and Eric Jurisin of the Haunted Group, thank you so much for being here. It's
Thank
always
you,
great to see you.
Jamie.
I love spending time with you, and I love all your spaces up in Cottonwood and Jerome. Great place to take the family over the holidays and whenever.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Jamie's Local Love, the podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Serretta. Our technician is Tom Heidinger. Our editors are Lorraine Shearing and Gina Coy. Do you know a business worthy of some local love? Email me at jserretta@azfamily.com. Follow us at facebook.com/Serretta and Instagram @Serretta News. Make sure to subscribe and give us a 5-star review, please. And tell your friends about the podcast and the businesses we feature to show your local love. You can find us on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, and anywhere you get your podcasts.
Jamie's Local Love, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast.